He's getting older.
Hey, welcome to Con Air. Bull, hit the full button.
But not wiser.
King of the world, baby, king of the world.
This is the Lefty Show.
Welcome, everybody, to the Lefty Show. I am your host, Lefty. Glad to be here with each and every one of you. Hope to put on a great show for you here today in what is the Lefty Show number 46, I believe it is. Yes, indeed. Episode number 46 here today, Monday the 30th of June in the year of our spaghetti monster, 2014. Welcome one, welcome all to the Lefty Show. Hope you will all enjoy what I put on for you today. Got a lot of things to talk about. But first, the propers. Thank you to everybody for watching, liking, favoriting, and subscribing on YouTube. YouTube.com/LeftyOX is where you go to find the show on YouTube, as well as gaming content, vlogs, all the things there. Got a big YouTube presence. YouTube.com/LeftyOX. You can follow me on Twitter at Lefty643. Twitter.com/Lefty643 is where you go to stay updated on all the latest and greatest news, my musings, and all the things in between, the Lefty shows and the videos and the whatnot. Thank you to everybody that's been sharing the show with your friends, family, and co-workers, which is much easier now that we are mobile with an RSS feed. Go to leftyshow.podbean.com. That's leftyshow.podbean.com to manually subscribe to the RSS feed. Or if you're on Android, go to your favorite podcasting app, search The Lefty Show. That's The Lefty Show. Find us there. Subscribe. You can also go to iTunes. Go to the iTunes store, the biggest and baddest, and search The Lefty Show, and you can find our feed there. Be sure to subscribe and leave a rating, if you please, climbing the ranks of the new and noteworthy on the iTunes store, which I'm very proud of. Thank you all for making that happen. Thank you all for donating at imraising.com/643 Productions. If you want to help out the show, keep us afloat, that's a great way to do it. imraising.com/643 Productions. All donations greatly appreciated and graciously accepted. Thank you to everybody for doing that. Now, I've been watching more and more, finding a new series to watch on Netflix. And I'm the kind of person, and my girlfriend kind of gets mad at me, but I'm the kind of person where if I get into a series, Netflix is great for this because pretty much everything's on there. Unless you're watching a new series that's still in hot rotation, probably not every series or not every season is going to be on there, but there will be a few. But even more so, if you're watching an older, something that's been launched, that was launched in 05 or 06, Netflix is a great place to go to watch it. And I'm the kind of person where I've got a one-track mind pretty much when it comes to consuming media. If I watch a series and I like that series, I'm going to watch it all the way through. If I start watching Entourage, I'm watching the Entourage run. Maybe not the last couple of seasons, they kind of blew, especially the Dark Vince season. When Vince turned into Lindsay Lohan, like a proxy Lindsay Lohan, I was like, come on, stop trying to make Entourage dark and gritty. Adrian Grenier probably, I love him as Vince, love his other work, but, I know you want to show more range, dude, but it's Entourage. It's a 30-minute bro comedy on HBO. Just let me turn my brain off and watch somebody else live the movie star life. I don't want to worry about you, oh my God, is Vince going to continue to doing coke and banging Sasha Grey? And Sasha Grey was great that season, but it was just she was introduced as like a dark character, like Vince's, like the opposite of a muse. She was Vince's downfall muse. Oh man, come on, just get back to the fun and stuff and all that. But if I start watching The Sopranos, I'm watching The Sopranos run, and I started watching Burn Notice, and Katie would get mad at me and be like, well, not mad, but she would get upset with me, and I'd come to bed and I'd turn on Netflix, and what are you going to watch? And I'm like, Burn Notice. She says, well, what? You don't want to watch anything else? I said, well, I want to watch Burn Notice because I've watched Burn Notice before, and I'm really into the series now, and I know the storyline, and I know where the characters left off, and I don't want that to go stale in my head. You have to remember, like, oh, what was Michael Wilson doing? Oh, is he? Oh, but he was with the thing, right? And then who's this guy? Why? So I watch it all. I don't binge watch like most people do on Netflix. I watch 3 episodes at the most, maybe 4, but I don't watch entire seasons at a time. I watch 2 or 3 as I go to bed, or if I'm having lunch at my desk, I'll pop on Netflix and watch an episode of whatever series is in rotation. But my point is that series is in rotation, and I hope I'm not the only one, but Katie kind of gave me shit for it. Like, why don't you want to watch anything else? I said, well, first of all, babe, I love you, but I fucking hate Glee. I don't want to watch Glee. 0 interest in watching Glee. Similarly, How I Met Your Mother is stale, stupid bullshit. I don't like it. It's not, yeah, it's just not funny to me. It's contrived, silly jokes that are delivered poorly by deadpan actors. It's just not for me. Sorry. And I want to watch Burn Notice because I want to know what's going on. And wrapped up Burn Notice, the seventh and final season, which was probably the best for that show. You know those shows that run on too long? Probably The Simpsons has run on too long. It's just it's way past its prime, and it's time to put it to bed. There are series that go out when they should have gone out. Seinfeld comes to mind. Seinfeld was pretty much done. There was very little else to be done for all those people. They could have gone on and people still would have watched, but creatively, comically, they'd done all the jokes. They would have explored pretty much everything that was even somewhat reasonable for the characters. Anything beyond that would just be cashing checks, and you're just beating the horse to get more money out of it. Similarly, I know Boardwalk Empire is coming to an end in a 5th season, and I think, yeah, that's pretty good. You don't want to run on too long. The Sopranos probably went a season too long. What with the contract disputes, and they started, they would miss an entire calendar year sometimes because, they would film 8 episodes and then there would be huge contract disputes, so they'd have to flesh out 8 episodes and film a bunch of nonsensical scenes to turn it into a 12 or 13 episode season. And at that point, it's just pull the plug. Pull the plug. And Burn Notice went on, it was maybe a little bit longer than it should have, maybe stretched things out too far. How many times can you raise the stakes for a burned spy? When you're a spy, spies often do, and that just, the narration. Oh, Jeffrey Donovan, I love you. But just the narration that always starts, when you're a spy, as a spy. Okay, all right, thank you very much. So 7th season was done, and I want to watch something new, and I found Mad Men. And I watched like 3 episodes last night. I remember the show as when it started on AMC, and I would catch like bits and pieces of it, and I thought, oh, this looks gritty and cool. But I was doing other things, couldn't watch. But Netflix, oh my God, the commercials are cut out. Oh, it's amazing. And I'm watching the show, the first season with getting to know Don Draper and the rest of the people surrounding that whole storyline. And I realize I want to know how much of an accurate portrayal that is of 1960s America. Because there's the obvious jokes of the pregnant women smoking. They frame the shots perfectly. One scene comes to mind where you see 2 women sitting at a counter, 2 hens at the counter of a kitchen during the day, smoking cigarettes, unfiltered, of course, discussing, gossiping, all the things. And there's Don Draper's wife and some other hen. And they're smoking, and a child walks in, and it was always a chest up shot, each cut to each respective character. But then the girl opposite Draper's wife, a child walks into the kitchen, and they show a more long shot where the woman stands up and she's pregnant, smoking cigarettes. And there's just little kind of jabs at that Americana in the show. But I want to know how, because I want to know how accurate it is, because everybody smokes. Everybody smokes, Everybody's drinking whiskey neat or bourbon or gin, vodka. Everybody's drinking, everybody's smoking while pregnant, drinking while pregnant, and you know, the men just being misogynistic douchebags and all but raping women. I'm sure, given this is again my first exposure, I'm sure there's a rape scene coming. I know there's a rape scene coming. There's got to be. Can't not with how misogynistic the characters are portrayed as already. And I'm going to take what is mine from the secretarial pool. I know a rape scene's coming. But I want to know, we're told now in real life, now, the dangers of smoking, the evils of smoking. You will die and get cancer and get fucked up. You can't drink too much. Your liver will, if you have more than 10 alcoholic beverages in a week, you're abusing alcohol or whatever the threshold is, and that's bad. And you're paying higher insurance premiums, and you are going to shorten your lifespan by a whole lot. And then I look at something like Mad Men, and I see, of course, it's a dramatized version of 1960s America. But there was a lot of that going on. Martini lunches and everybody smoking cigarettes, ashtrays everywhere. Smoking was accepted as just something you do. And this was a time when advertisers or cigarette companies could advertise cigarettes as healthy. Say, oh, it's good for you. Make you feel better. It'll cure this. Oh, you got asthma? Here, smoke a cigarette. Lucky Strikes. You'll feel better. And I try to match up, and if anything, it was worse then because they were unfiltered, and chain smoking was just, it was accepted. There weren't any of the hurdles then that there are now. Smoking in your office, smoking in a bar, smoking in a hotel room. You didn't have to be ushered outside. Smoking in an airport. You didn't have to be ushered to a small corner of the airport and put behind a plexiglass Lexan wall for everybody to gawk at like you're some kind of subhuman. None of that was there, so I'm guessing the prevalence of smoking was that much higher. And I look and I say, well, okay, that's the baby boomer generation. They're still around. They're alive. They're the ones buying now Viagra. Yeah, maybe a little bit. Yeah. They're the ones that were buying Viagra in the early aughts. They're the ones now going for low T, going to their doctors for low T, and trying to maintain that beach bod at 65, 66 years old. And I'm just wondering, well, okay, liquor, cigarette smoking, all bad, all bad, all bad, all bad. But if it was this prevalent, if it was even approaching this prevalent in society in the 1960s, all those people should be dead. They should have been dead by the 1990s, all of them. But they're not. Where's the disconnect here? Where is that? This is not to say that, oh, well, it's a lie that smoking and drinking too much is bad for you. There's no doubt that it's bad for you. But is it perhaps that maybe it's a little bit alarmist to say 10 drinks and you're abusing alcohol going to shorten your lifespan? Is it a bit alarmist to portray smoking cigarettes as so evil? Not just bad for you, evil. When just 50 years ago, it was accepted. It was just, and women didn't know smoking while pregnant causes birth defects. But there's children were born, right? We didn't have a shortage of humans, did we? Not that I recall. That's kind of weird. Now, my point isn't that we shouldn't go back to that time. Or that we should go back to that time. That's not my point. But my point is, perhaps we should entertain the notion that a lot of what we see and hear and understand as evil and akin to mainlining toxic waste isn't really that bad. Smoking cigarettes, certainly not good for you, but you're not going to get cancer immediately upon smoking cigarettes. You're not necessarily going to get lung cancer and die and lead a tortured existence at age 60 or 70 or something like that. You know, you have a few drinks going to bed at night or on the weekends, you're not really going to get liver cirrhosis and be a burden to your family, friends, and society at large when you have to go on dialysis or be on the transplant list at 55, 60 years old. Maybe it's should we be healthy? Of course. Of course we should be a healthier society. And part of that is making people understand these things aren't good for you. Drinking alcohol is not good for you. Smoking cigarettes or breathing superheated particulate air, not good for you. It simply is not. There is no case in which it is patently good for you. But we should stop there. That we should let people make their own decisions. We don't need the health campaign in our society has become editorialized. No longer is it, smoking isn't good for you. That's not enough. We've turned smoking from not good for you to an evil trait, to something that makes you subhuman. You can't be around other people if you're a smoker or you want to smoke. You have to go outside. And even then, if you're outside, non-smokers are seemingly painting themselves as better than you, and you have to move for them, not the other way around. If you're drinking, people are so quick to, oh, you're an alcoholic. And alcoholism in and of itself has such an editorialized stigma about it. You drink and you're an alcoholic. Well, wait a minute. Hold on now. Alcoholics are people that beat their children and beat their wives and are barely functioning humans and live in a tenuous existence. I'm just having a couple drinks with dinner. There's a big difference between waking up and cracking a beer and me having a whiskey neat because I believe I did something good in the day or I just like the taste. There's a big difference. And yeah, so what? Technically, when you add in the weekends, I go out and have 4 drinks on a weeknight or weekend night, and I have 6 more strewn about the week. Now all of a sudden I've got a problem. Not just it's bad for you, you've got a problem. It shouldn't be this way. Well, no, I want it to be this way. Why are you saying I've got a problem and it shouldn't? No, I want to drink. I know it's not good for me. I'm not making the case that it is good for me. I know it's not, but I like it and I want to do it. Do you have anything that you like that isn't patently good for you? Do you eat sugar? Do you eat a lot of sugar? Do you eat ice cream? Eat sugary treats? Do you treat yourself to something? Do you have anything where you treat? That's not good for you. So why is it okay when you're shoving cupcakes down your throat every time you close a business deal, but I can't crack open Johnny Walker a couple nights a week without you climbing all over my back? We've allowed the pendulum to swing too far. It is a good idea and in the best interest of society as a whole to tell people these things are not good for you. Duh. That's what health class is for. However, when it goes so far as to treating people as subhuman or saying you have a problem, well, I got a harder time getting behind that because, well, don't I have any autonomy anymore? Can't I make a decision what I like, what I don't like? Why do I have to subscribe to what you've been force-fed? Me drinking, quote, so much is a, quote, problem, but it's not for me because I like it. I like smoking. It's not good for you. Yeah. Well, you're going to die. Yeah. I like it. Why do I have to be treated as subhuman because I don't like it or because I like it? What the hell? And this is a problem that I think a lot of pro marijuana people get into, is they're trying to swing that pendulum back by even arguing that that marijuana is good for you, that it has some medicinal purposes. And I say, stop that. That's not your case. It should not be your case that that marijuana, one, has medical purposes and is thus not inherently evil, and two, could in some way be good for you, or by the virtue of not being as bad as other things is good for you. Stop that. Because you're editorializing just in a different way. First of all, about medical marijuana, it treats a symptom. It treats pain. It treats nausea, not anything else. It's not going to cure you of anything. The nausea caused by your chemo treatment is not something that needs to be cured. It's a symptom of your chemo treatment. It's not a disease. Nausea is not a disease. Medical marijuana treats that, but so would a lot of heroin, and so would a medically induced coma while you're receiving chemo treatment. That's not medically induced comas, in case you don't know, are not good for you. You don't want that a lot. Painkillers on a massive scale, not good for you. Trust me, this is someone that's been on a whole shit ton of oxycodone. It's not good for you. You feel nice, but then you stop feeling as nice. And it degrades and degrades and degrades. And then all of a sudden, you're taking the 750 milligrams of oxycodone because it makes you feel normal. And you're really, really constipated. I don't mean to talk a lot about poop on the show. I don't want this to turn into the poop show. But prescription painkillers really make you constipated. Like, a lot. And unless you're eating wicker baskets along with your oxycodone or codeine or whatever, you're going to be really constipated. And taking a shit is going to hurt. It's going to hurt really bad. That's not good for you. Constipation can't be good for you. So don't try to tell me, medical marijuana activists, that, or don't even imply it, that marijuana is somehow good because it has medical applications. It doesn't have medical applications in the same way that penicillin has medical applications. It has medical applications in the way that hydrocodone does, in the way that codeine does, in all those ways. That's its medicinal purpose, to treat pain and to manage pain or to manage nausea. That's it. It's not curing you of something. It's just kind of mitigating other bad things as a result of either a disease or a treatment. And while the mitigating is good, would you equally say, well, hey, oxycodone, after a surgery, oxycodone is the place to, or you break a leg, oxycodone manages that pain. Oxycodone is a good thing. We should all legalize this because of this good thing it does. And you say, well, wait a minute, hold on. Wait just a second. Yeah, it's a good thing, but it's good at managing pain. Should it not be controlled, and should its recreational use be controlled still, or be even illegal because, well, people don't really know what the fuck they're doing, because this is a complicated thing that even, anesthesiologists make a lot of money, and they make a lot of money for good reason, because that shit is complicated, and you will fuck yourself up if you don't know what you're doing. If you don't know what you're doing with painkillers, you will really fuck yourself up badly. That's why anesthesiologists get paid a lot of money. Or at least, now I know the stuff anesthesiologists use is not what you're going to pick up at the drugstore, but that connection is, I think, not that far off base. Because while oxycodone may not be, or hydrocodone or whatever, may not be what anesthesiologists use to put you in a medically induced coma or prep you for surgery, it's in the same family. And there's good reason behind all the regulation of all this hardcore shit. So, okay, medical marijuana treats pain. All right. It's still not good for you. It's not an inherently good thing that we should rejoice in its awesomeness because it treats pain and manages nausea. And similarly, don't try to tell me, and again, you know, I'm pro-marijuana, as somebody who's pro-pot, pro-legalization, I'm pro-legalization of marijuana because I'm pro put whatever you want in your body to a reasonable degree. The line gets blurred and the logic gets fuzzy when you start talking about those higher level narcotics, but I liken marijuana to alcohol and its effects to alcohol. And okay, reasonably, if that seems reasonable to me, legalize it, because you should be able to put in your body what you know, can you fuck yourself up? Sure. But it's kind of hard to do. It's kind of hard to kill yourself with alcohol. I know some people, it's easy to get a hangover, but it's kind of hard to get to a point where you're killing yourself with booze. And I mean killing yourself because of the amount of alcohol you intake, not the long-term liver damage and cirrhosis and all that stuff. I'm talking about alcohol poisoning is kind of hard to do. It's really easy to do with codeine, but kind of harder to do with alcohol. Similarly, and this completely disregards the studies that show that there's no such thing as overdosing on marijuana, it's kind of hard to fuck yourself up with marijuana if you just keep smoking pot. We haven't even found the level yet at which you really fuck yourself up with dosage. Okay, that should be something you should be able to decide you want to put in your body. That should be something you can reasonably decide for yourself. However, just because it is at least, or at worst, marijuana is the same as alcohol, does not mean that we should be painting it as like, oh my God, it's this glorious thing. It's this, you just want to smoke a little pot and get a little high and you'll come down, there's no hangover, it's amazing. Well, hold on now. Just slow your roll a bit. You know, you want to get booze, you want to get boozed up, you want to get fucked up, and then you come back down. Okay, you want to say the same thing with pot, but nobody says alcohol is good because you get really fucked up. That's not a selling point, at least overtly, of alcohol. And with pot, I don't think you should be making that case either. It's kind of counterproductive to make the case, yeah, it'll really fuck you up, but you'll be okay. No, just make the case, make the pot legalization case not based on, don't negative sell it, or don't use a negative sell to try to sell it. Like, well, at least it's not as bad as alcohol. No, say it's probably as bad at worst as alcohol. Thus, it should be something adults should be able to decide to put it in their body. That's why it should be legal. It's not a wonder drug. It's been around for millennia. It's not going to cure what ails you. It'll help you manage pain, maybe. And if you use it in concentrated ways, it'll get you a little bit fucked up recreationally, and then you'll come back down, and you'll be all right. Prolonged use, we're not really sure yet. But it doesn't look to be, again, any worse than alcohol long term. That should be something people can decide to put in their bodies. It's not good. It's not going to cure what ails you. It's not a medicine. It is a painkiller. It is a pain manager. It is a nausea manager. It is not medicine. It can be used in a medicinal setting, but it's not medicine. Stop trying to make the case that it is medicine. I think the best case to make for the legalization of marijuana is, look, we're adults. We should be able to decide if we want to roll up and smoke a joint or a bowl or rip a bong or a blunt. We should be able to decide to do that, or vape it, or whatever it is you got to do to make pot brownies. I don't even understand that. That's some chemistry shit. Whatever you got to do there. And we as all adults should be able to decide, well, I want to put this in my body. And we should all be able to come to a conclusion like, look, we know medicinal quality painkillers and stuff like heroin can fuck you up. This isn't that. This is more on the level of something that we already have decided, hey, adults in our society can decide to use this stuff. So don't try to swing the pendulum back the other way, pro-pot people, as much as you might want to. As much as you might want to pull that thing back even past the center line, I think the best argument to be made for medicinal marijuana, or not even medicinal marijuana, legalized marijuana, and not decriminalized, because that's half-ass shit. It's still wrong, but it's just a fine. You're not a criminal for doing so. It's like a parking ticket. It's not a criminal procedure. No. It should be legalized and let people decide. Let rational adults, consenting adults, decide if they want to put it in their body, and if so, how much. And then you deal with the results, just like you deal with the results of alcohol. The exact same thing. Just like you deal with the results of wine. Exact same thing. Big industry, alcohol, isn't it? Big industry, especially in America and South Korea. Especially South Korea, mother of God. But our society has said we will accept the bad things that come from widespread alcohol consumption in our society. We will accept that because we as people of liberty get to decide what we put in our bodies. Make that case, pro-pot people. I implore you. I don't want to hear about the wonder drug that is medicinal marijuana. I don't want to hear about how it's even somehow in any way good for me because it's not alcohol. No. Make the case based on liberties. That is the best way to do it. All right, should we do some news? I think we should. All right, we got a lot to talk about today in the news. The UN has come down hard on the city of Detroit. A federal judge has ruled in favor of NBC and against George Zimmerman, and the police have a brand new handheld X-ray machine. Talk about Christian radio hosts and bondage, and there's no such thing as safe radiation level. It's the news with Lefty. We've got a lot to talk about today. All right, it's the news. I got to cut down that intro for that thing. It runs a little bit too long sometimes. Speaking of of things painted as evil by society, we talked about smoking and drinking as something that we just, in our society, we just accept as evil, and I don't really get why. In the story of a Christian radio host, this is from MLive.com, both of these stories. Christian radio host accused of child sex assault, no longer affiliated with WCSG. This is a little background. Grand Rapids, Michigan. John Balio, I almost said Balo, but that's not. John Balio, or Balio, yo, a host with WCSG Radio, arrested for allegedly paying for sexual encounters with children, is, quote, no longer affiliated with the station, end quote, an official said Saturday. WCSG General Manager Chris Lemke is to address the Ballios arrest on the station's morning show at 7:30 a.m. Monday, according to Kelly Cottrell, the spokeswoman for the Christian station. Ballio, 35, of Caledonia, was arrested in Gaylord Friday. That's fortuitous. After an investigation involving Homeland Security, the state police, and Battle Creek police on charges of first-degree criminal sexual conduct. Now, in another story, following up on this arrest, federal authorities are confirming that a storage unit rented to former WCSG radio host John Ballio had a, quote, bondage kit that contained items including handcuffs, chains, and duct tape. Ballio is charged with first-degree criminal sexual conduct involving an 11-year-old boy. Police allege he paid a Battle Creek man to arrange for him to have sex with minors. The bondage-type items were discovered in a suitcase after a Friday, June 20th search of a Plainfield Township storage unit. Investigators also found a padlock, rubber gloves, and children's socks, authorities said. A Homeland Security investigation source said Ballio gave police consent to search the unit after he was arrested at a Christian music festival in Gaylord. A Christian music festival in Gaylord. Ballio was a morning radio host, or a morning show host at the Christian radio station. He was released on Saturday, June 21st. First question up, why the fuck is Homeland Security in on this? What? Hold on a second. I've got a big issue with this. Okay? One of the things I don't like in our society is how, at least in America, is how quickly the federal government seems to get involved in everything. How quickly the feds are up your ass on everything. There was a school shooting in Oregon recently, and the FBI was called to the scene. FBI, the Federal Bureau of Investigation, called to the scene and and apparently it's their jurisdiction. And when I first read the reports, again, I hate to do this revolving around a school shooting because just son of a bitch. I wish it could be something else because it seems as though I'm aligning myself with like why can't the school shooters get away with it? But on some level, I actually kind of am arguing. But damn it! If we can forget for a moment that it was a school shooting involving children, can we forget that for a moment, please? A place in Oregon involving supposedly Oregonians, involving citizens of Oregon in Oregon. Why is the FBI there? That seems like a state of Oregon problem. That seems like an issue that they've got complete jurisdiction on and they got on lockdown. Why is the FBI showing up to investigate and to police and to search and to question all these people? What does the federal government have to do with anything? Now, I know they're helping, and that's going to be the thing. Well, they're just helping. They're helping out, manpower, blah, 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 blah. I understand that. However, think about this. If they're called in, if they just call in and assume control of an investigation when it's in one state involving citizens of that state and crimes committed only in that state, they can involve themselves in anything. All of a sudden, the federal government can be up your ass for traffic tickets or pot possession. Because traffic tickets aren't necessarily criminal offenses, necessarily. But let's say low-level pot possession. Can the feds be involved in that? Or are you going to be prosecuted? Is it possible that you could be prosecuted for a federal crime because you've got a little bit of pot? Because we accept the Federal Bureau of Investigation getting involved and arresting people and charging people with federal crimes when only thing has ever occurred in Oregon. All of a sudden, that's the jurisdiction of the FBI. And similarly, we've got a kid diddler in Michigan. All right? And he was in Michigan? Yeah. And the people he contracted with were also in Michigan? Right. Okay. Why is Homeland Security involved? Isn't that a Michigan issue? Should that not be at the highest level, the Michigan State Police? Why is Homeland Security, a federal agency, getting involved? Huh? And it's not inherently bad, but it just makes me question, well, if we're not going to question we just accept federal involvement in everything now, well, where does that line? Well, all of a sudden, I'm accused of some crime in the state of Illinois, and all of a sudden I'm answering federal agents? Federal agents are showing up and questioning people. And here's another thing. The way the federal agents do it, they question you. You're not allowed to record the questioning. They write everything down. And if you can't remember, but you're pressured to answer, and you answer one thing and then testify another, well, then you've lied to a federal agent. That's a federal crime. Federal crime. Or if the federal agent's investigating some crime that only has involved people from a state and property in one state, and the feds are on it, and you're saying, no, I'm not going to show you, let's say, I'm not going to show you my cell phone. I'm not going to unlock my cell phone for you. No, I believe I'm within my rights to do so. And you're saying that to a federal agent? Well, then you're obstructing a federal investigation. And now that's a federal crime. Now not only are you on trial for whatever the fuck you've done in the state, now the feds are coming after you for obstructing a federal investigation. Have fun. No, hold on now. I want to know why the feds are involved in all this shit. And why do we just accept it? The federal Homeland Security is involved. What? In Michigan? Wait, with sex crimes now? Is a Homeland Security issue, huh? What? Okay. And I'm gonna say it right now. I haven't even done any more research on this story. The reason Homeland Security was involved is because they were inside his PC. I'm saying it right now. They were inside his PC, probably without a warrant. And second point, I'm bringing this up, regardless of whether the guy is actually a kid diddler or an attempted kid diddler, which is, well, illegal and morally abhorrent, sure, that's given. Why do we need to know that he has BDSM? What is it? Bondage, domination, sadomasochism? I believe that's it. Why do we need to know that he's got leather chaps and a ball gag and handcuffs and stuff in a storage department or a storage unit? Why is that news? This guy isn't guilty of a crime. He's accused of a crime. Now, why is it news that he's got some and to me, BDSM is weird, and I think to the average American, BDSM, weird. It's a weird sexual proclivity. Why is it news that he had a separate weird sexual proclivity? Why is that news? And why is it even portrayed? And why are news agencies allowed to even imply that the crime of attempting to have sex with a minor is in any way associated with this guy having BDSM stuff? Why? Where are the people saying, where's the editors for this? Where's the oversight to the reporters that's saying, no, because you know what? It's not illegal to have weird sexual proclivities, outside of a few extremes. Child porn. I think bestiality is illegal. You can't be going around doing that to animals. And even then, that's fringe, because think of how the cat must feel. But consenting adults in America having a BDSM fetish, having a foot fetish, having a whatever kind of fetish you want among consenting adults, why is that even put up against? Because it's not explicitly stated that the BDSM stuff is tied to the crime. It's not, but the first graph reads, federal authorities are confirming that a storage unit rented to former WCSG radio host John Ballio had a bondage kit that contained items including handcuffs, chains, and duct tape. Factual statement. Second paragraph. Balio is charged with first-degree criminal sexual conduct involving an 11-year-old boy. Police allege he paid a Battle Creek man to arrange for him to have sex with minors. Now, it's not saying to have BDSM sex. It's not saying that the federal investigation is saying that they think he was going to take him to this BDSM thing. No, that's a completely separate statement of fact. Third paragraph. Back to bondage, all of a sudden. The bondage-type items were discovered in a suitcase after a Friday, June 20th search of a Plainfield Township storage unit. Investigators also found a padlock, rubber gloves, and children's socks, authorities said. Now, if anybody, just anybody reading that, what have you learned to associate with anything else? What have you associated in your mind? Even without the reporter, John Tunison, probably a cocksucker, what have you associated in your mind? This guy's alleged weird sexual proclivity with his alleged sex crime. But that's not what the federal authorities said, is it? No, they just found BDSM stuff. Is it illegal to have that? Well, no. Did he have anything illegal there? No. Did he have child porn? No. He didn't have anything illegal there, just weird sexual kink stuff. But that fact, which is a fact, is run right up against the other fact of he's alleged of a serious sexual crime. What are we left to believe? And there's no oversight. That's just, that's what we do. That's okay. And I say, no, that's not okay. Because now what you're doing is you are shaming anyone who has a sexual proclivity that's anywhere close to this guy. Now, people that were heretofore unawares of BDSM now associate BDSM with kid diddling. Same thing with homosexuality back in the day. Homosexuality, oh my God, they had to work so hard, homosexuals did, to drive in the head of idiot America that homosexuality is not the same as being a pedophile. That not all... just because you're a homosexual does not mean you're a pedophile, because mainstream media at the time didn't like homosexuals. And so all of a sudden, a whole bunch of stories about homosexual pedophiles got run. And while they were one homosexual and two pedophiles, stupid America put the two together with the, of course, guiding hand, the invisible hand of the media, to think, oh, homosexual is pedophilism. Oh, okay. Or pedophilia. Oh, okay. Well, duh. And now, then there was this whole just stigma surrounding homosexuality that well-meaning homosexuals did nothing to create. It was created whole cloth by the mainstream media. And the genius of it, I guess, if you want to take your hat off, is they did it without ever saying homosexuals are pedophiles. They just said, well, this guy's a pedophile. In news today, a pedophile was arrested for a man engaging in homosexual sex with a 12-year-old boy. And they were simply reporting the facts. Kinda. They ordered them just right so that people could not help but think, oh, bam, homosexuality is pedophilia. Got it. All right, cool. Thank you, mainstream media. And the homosexual movement has had to work for decades, and it's still around, but they've had to work for decades to undo that and say, no, we just like different kinds of sex. And the whole, genetic thing, we can't help but being attracted to this, but this, I would argue that the sex is kind of different. Not really. I don't know. It's a complicated issue once you start talking about choice and drive and what you do choose and what you just are. And, well, okay. And they had to do that. And they had to say, no, we are not all pedophiles. There are heterosexuals who are pedophiles. But the homosexual pedophiles were just bam, 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 bam. In the news. And then people just, oh, homosexuality is pedophilia. Okay. And the same thing is happening here. And is anybody going to say to John Tunison, hey, dick, why are you reporting this and wrapping up the fact of BDSM stuff found at this guy's place, which isn't illegal, And also, nowhere does it say that it's not illegal to have BDSM material. It's not illegal to own handcuffs. And it's not illegal to engage in BDSM with consenting adults. It's not. But nowhere in the article does it say that. And right in between the statements of fact about what was found at the storage locker is, oh, and by the way, this guy's a supposed kid diddler. You do the math, America. We need to rein in, at least probably not via the legislature, but we need to rein in reporters. We need to rein in the press, because while they do have First Amendment protection, you can only go so far with it. And I would argue that at the very least, wrapping up, reporting factual things while not criminal, and then wrapping them up and very clearly implying that, hey, this pervert, this homosexual pervert who is allegedly trying to diddle kids also liked this weird sexual shit. I would argue that is at best kind of towing that line of free speech. Kind of tone it, because you know exactly the message you're creating or the message you're sending. And the message isn't just to report the news. The message is now to get a little bit of an editorial edge on it. And that's why BDSM is equated, or at least aligned, with attempted child rape. And no, can't do that. Again, is legislation the answer? I don't know. But this sort of stuff can't happen. This sort of stuff, I would think, not very good. Similarly, in other news, judge rules in favor of NBC and George Zimmerman's defamation lawsuit. This is from mynews13.com. Dateline Sanford. Judge Deborah Nelson has ruled in favor of NBC in a defamation lawsuit filed by George Zimmerman. Zimmerman filed the lawsuit in December 2012, saying NBC aired an edited version of the call he made to 911 right before his confrontation with 17-year-old Trayvon Martin. The actual call made the night of February 26, 2012, went as follows. George Zimmerman. This guy looks like he's up to no good. He's on drugs or something. It's raining and he's just walking around looking about. 911 dispatcher. Okay, and this guy, is he black, white, or Hispanic? Zimmerman, he looks black. But a version of the audio aired by NBC trimmed that dialogue to just Zimmerman saying, this guy looks like he's up to no good. He looks black. The network ended up firing 3 producers. In a hearing Thursday, June 19th, attorneys for NBC argued the First Amendment protects their reporting because the reports aired about a month after the shooting, and by that time, Zimmerman was already a, quote, public figure. During that hearing, Nelson ruled Zimmerman could not continue to pursue damages against a reporter formerly with an NBC Miami station because that reporter was not legally notified of the suit ahead of the time. Zimmerman sued NBC before his criminal trial last year, accusing the network of airing several reports he says were edited to portray Zimmerman as racist. None of the 3 attorneys representing NBC Universal commented after the hearing. In her court documents, the judge wrote the court deemed Zimmerman a, quote, public figure, and that actual malice had to be proven. And that's true. To prove defamation, if you're a public figure, you need to show actual malice. You need to show that the reporting was, one, known to be misleading or known to be not true, and it was also born from an act of malice. You acted with malice. You wanted to hurt George Zimmerman because he's a public figure. Otherwise, publishing statements you know to be false about somebody else, just some regular Joe Blow, that's not cool, and that is defamation. If I just went out and picked some random guy on the street, some random guy, just some guy, I walk into a McDonald's, they say, hey, what's your name behind the counter? Okay, cool. And then I go on here and start saying, this guy, he loves to blow cats. He diddled his sister at 8 years old, and all these awful things about him. That's defamation. That's defamation. I can't do that. But if it's a public figure, if it's Ashton Kutcher, I heard loves to blow cats, well, I have to prove malice. Or Ashton Kutcher would have to prove my malice, and I would say, well, it's just a stupid internet podcast bit. I I don't really hate Ashton Kutcher. I don't even know the guy. But here's the fuck of that. Here's the rub of this ruling. Okay? And it's the last one, a bit of a buried lead. I mean, if it's the last sentence of an article, I would argue that it's a very buried lead. In her court documents, the judge wrote the court deemed Zimmerman a public figure, and that actual malice had to be proven. Now, earlier in the article, it said, in a hearing Thursday, June 19th, attorneys for NBC argued the First Amendment protects their reporting because the reports aired about a month after the shooting, and by that time, Zimmerman was already a public figure. Here's the rub of the whole system we've got going on. While it's a good idea to protect the press's free speech, here is how it has been abused and jerry-rigged. The press can go after you and say, and have license to say essentially what they want. And they can edit anything you say to make it appear as though you're saying anything they want. And as long as you are deemed a public figure by the courts, their speech is protected and you cannot sue them. You do not have action against them for defamation. Who controls whether you're a public figure? The media. If the media, now, aside from me, or let's stick with me. If I go to that same McDonald's employee and I strike up a conversation with him and I start making him a part of the show, and I say every single day, or even regularly, I start talking about this guy and I use his name, and even if he comes on the show and starts talking to me, and I'm playing him up, he's still just some guy at McDonald's, but I'm playing him up, and then I start with he blows cats, did all this horrible shit. I might have a defense. Now, I would probably still lose because I'm just some joker on the internet. But imagine if NBC did that. Imagine if NBC went and did a story regularly on this guy working at McDonald's, just some guy. They did a story and just started talking about him. And we're just talking about him. They found a picture from his Facebook profile and just started doing stories on him. Then, and bullshit stories, filler stories. He works at McDonald's. They just follow his Facebook feed, and it's just some gag, right? And he has no part in it. Later, one day, a producer says, let's just fuck with this guy for whatever reason. I don't know. Maybe just a jackass. Says, and then they start saying, wow, we heard he did all this horrendous shit, blowing cats, man. What the fuck is it? This guy blows cats. This McDonald's worker accused of blowing cats. They might have a defense. They might have an honest defense of, well, he's a public figure. And who made him into a public figure? NBC. NBC, the media, can make a public figure out of you, and then they can fucking destroy you. They'll build you up and then obliterate you back down. And they're protected. And a judge may rule, yes, that's okay. Now, as much of a piece of shit as George Zimmerman is, because we all know why you started fucking with this guy. We all know why you did. We know it. You know it. And we know, given your actions after the court proceedings, you're a gigantic piece of shit. We know you're just a gigantic piece of shit. But George Zimmerman didn't turn George Zimmerman into a spectacle, at least before the trial. After the trial, of course, because then he was going to fight DMX. And I hope DMX would have just beaten the ever-loving shit out of him. George Zimmerman turned himself into a public figure after the trial, but before the trial, he was just a guy. And the media, it was the media that turned him into a spectacle, that turned him into a public figure, and then it was the same exact media. In fact, you could make the case that it was just NBC. You can just follow NBC's reporting of the thing and report on all of their networks, all orifices churning red, just talking up George Zimmerman, and then they obliterate him and paint him as a racist and clearly chop out pertinent parts of the 911 call to make him seem like a racist. And they say, well, he's a public figure because they turn him into a public figure. I don't know if legislation is the answer, because I also agree that we are over-legislating ourselves. But there needs to be some mechanism by which, maybe just society, some mechanism by which society polices the media. Because right now our system can be abused to, we build you up and then we say whatever we want. And you can't do a goddamn thing about it. And I think that's wrong. Speaking of things you can't do a goddamn thing about, as we wrap up the Lefty Show here, this is from Mashable. We may not have X-ray specs, but now we have the world's first handheld X-ray gun, which enables police to search for explosives, guns, and drugs in inaccessible places. American Science and Engineering developed a device known as the Mini Z, using the same Z backscatter technology as the large scanners at airports. The beams are not strong enough to penetrate organic tissue the way a medical X-ray does. Instead, they scatter off surfaces they encounter. It took the company 7 years to miniaturize the technology into a 9-pound handheld device, according to the blog Defense One. It can scan cramped environments such as the interior of a boat or a wall that might have contraband hidden in it. The beams only travel a few feet, however, which means police will still need a warrant to search an apartment. The Z backscatter rays highlight organic materials as well as metallic objects. It can see currency, weapons, and drugs. It can even spot a 3D printed plastic gun, according to the Daily Mail. A tablet attached to the device displays an image in real time, allowing quick scans of an object from different angles. Operators require little to no trading, and Defense One points out they don't even need to be literate to use the scanner. What? Why is that? Hold on a second. Wait a second. Just wait a goddamn minute. Why is it a selling point of this thing that you don't need to be literate to use it? If it's intended for defense contractors and police, why does it need the selling point that you don't need to be literate? Whoa. Hold on. Are there illiterate police? Is this a selling point? I mean, is this an honest selling point? Because if there are illiterate cops out there, I give up. Never mind the fact that they're beaming X-ray into you. And yes, it's fucking dangerous. I don't care that it's 0.01 MREM. I don't care. So what? That's 2% of a foot X-ray. If it's on par with the scanners, that's 0.01 MREM. And Z backscatter. It's not the medical X-rays. No, it's still X-ray. It's still X-ray. It's just low energy X-ray. That's all. It's still X-ray. It's still X-ray. And X-ray is bad. There's no safe dosage of radiation. None. No such thing as a safe dosage of radiation. Every time you step out into the sun, every time you fly on a plane, every time you get a chest X-ray, you are rolling the dice. Every single time. There's a chance of some X-ray bouncing off a chromosome or some genetic strand just the right way, and now you've got cancer, or now you've got a genetic defect that we will only figure out 10 generations from now. Every single time you are exposed to radiation, it's a gamble. And now we're putting it in the hands of potentially fucking illiterate police to just go around boom, 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 X-ray in your face, boom. And is there any doubt in your mind that if you're stopped at a drunk stop, the cops are just going to start flashing this thing all over your car? I mean, they need a warrant. Yeah. When's that ever stopped police officers? That never stops police officers. You need a warrant to do that. We're just going to fucking do it. Everywhere. Now, this isn't slippery slope. This is a thing. Warrants, the need to get a warrant does not stop police officers. That's a fact, Jack. Is there any doubt in your mind that we're going to get to a point when these things are in widespread use that you go to a drunk stop or some kind of stop, contraband check, whatever, and you slow down and stop, and while the one officer is talking to you at your driver's side, there's another one that just walks up with this thing in his hand and just starts going all over your car. Boom, boom, boom. All over your trunk. And just in your door, blah, 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 blah. And that's just something we do. Hey, don't you need a warrant for that? Nope. Oh, okay. Now I've got nothing to hide. All right. That one time you do. That one time, I don't know. You got booze. Let's say you don't know you're in a state where having even unopened alcohol containers within arm's reach of the driver is illegal. And that's counted as some kind of DUI or some kind of DWI. Just immediately, boop. And they start searching your car. Boom, 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 with the x-ray thing. Okay? And you just gone home from the store, you worked a long day, and you bought a fifth of something, right? And you put it in the footwell of the back seat. Right? That's where everybody puts their groceries. You don't want it sliding around when you're driving around, but you don't want to open the trunk. It's one item. You don't want it sitting next to you because that's very clearly with arm's reach. And who wants to look like that much of an alcoholic? Like, I need to put, like, what are you putting your seatbelt on your Jack Daniels? So you put it in the well on the driver's side behind you. Easy enough. When you sit in, you don't even, when you get out, when you get home, you don't even need to open the back door or open the trunk. You just reach behind you and grab it. You don't even think about it. You just do it. So now you're stopped, and you've got nothing to hide, right? You got nothing to hide. You're not drunk. You may get drunk later, but certainly not driving. So you're just sitting there, yeah. Oh, hello, officer. Can I see your license and registration? Sure. Blah, blah, blah. Where are you going? What are you doing? Oh, nothing. Going home after work, long day. And then, unbeknownst to you, another cop walks up with this little x-ray thing. Boom, boom, boom. All over your... To me, that's how x-rays sound. Boom, boom. Like I don't know, a high-voltage transformer. And he just starts doing that to your car, and then he gets to the driver's side rear door. He sees an outline of a bottle. Very clearly, he knows what Jack Daniels looks like. That's liquor. And that's within arm's reach. Because you can reach behind your seat. We've all done that move. You reach behind your seat with your right arm, or if you're across the pond, with your left arm. And you grab the thing to get up and go. That's arm's reach. Bam! Slap the cuffs on him. That's illegal, bro. Can't be doing that. How did they know? X-ray machine. You got nothing to hide? Are you gonna? Aren't you going to say? Are you gonna swallow that? Are you gonna swallow that fine, whatever it is? Are you gonna swallow that night in jail? Are you gonna stand for that? Or are you gonna? Or all of a sudden, are you going to say they needed a warrant, man? I see how it is. A lot of people that argue, oh, I got nothing to hide, will immediately run to the warm embrace of attorneys and warrants when all of a sudden they've got shit to hide. You forgot you had a joint on you. I got nothing to hide, man. Oh, you got a joint on you, though. Are you going to take that standing up? Are you going to do that time, whatever? Fuck, even the night in jail. Are you going to do that standing up? Or are you going to say, fuck, bullshit, man, my rights were violated? Well, it's really not about having nothing to hide. It's you've got nothing to hide right now. And yeah, maybe we should impede the use of technology when it all of a sudden manifests itself in fucking handheld x-rays. That's science fiction shit. And you know what is dangerous? Because they're x-rays. There's no such thing as a safe dosage of x-ray. No such thing. They're not going to... The dosage is, again, about 2% if we're going by, if they say they're what the backscatter machines are, in terms of x-ray, in terms of MREM, or millirems. Okay, it's about 2% of a foot x-ray. It's still motherfucking x-ray. You don't play with that shit. You don't. There's no such thing as a safe dosage. Go ahead and Google that. Google that phrase. No such thing as a safe dosage of radiation, or no such thing as a safe dosage of x-ray. And find all the quotes by PhDs and physicists and scientists that say, yeah, no such thing as a safe dosage of this. We can kind of approximate from a probability standpoint what it might do to you, but it's still a roll of the dice every time you're exposed to x-ray. And you want to have potentially illiterate. What the? Potentially illiterate is a selling point. Oh, no. Oh, no, it's over. And you want to hand that to police officers. And it'll be just a matter of time before somebody else figures it out. And you got yourself a handheld x-ray machine. That's great. No, that's great. Yes. Go ahead. handheld x-ray, just start blasting everybody with x-ray. Good. You know what? I'm for it. Because if there are actually illiterate police officers, I'm all for it. Please blast us, every single human, with all the x-ray you can muster. Just let us just genetically deform ourselves into extinction. Please. We're done. We don't deserve it. We don't deserve to be sentient if we're giving potentially illiterate police officers x-ray guns. We don't deserve it. We deserve what happens to us if we as a society say yes to handheld x-ray guns given to police. Just kill us all. Just do it. Give us all cancer. Give us all a genetic predisposition to the worst forms of cancer you can think of. Please. We'll be done in a few generations, and the planet can move on. The apes can start again. And maybe the next versions of humans won't be so god-awful stupid. All right, let's bring it home. That's another great edition of The Lefty Show. I thank you all for joining me. Hope you had a great time listening. I had a great time putting on the show for all of you. Thank you to everybody for watching, liking, favoriting on YouTube. YouTube.com/LeftyOX is where you can go to find the YouTube version of the show, as well as gaming content and vlogs. Go there, youtube.com/LeftyOX. You can also follow me on Twitter @Lefty643. Twitter.com/Lefty643. Stay up to date on all my musings and the latest and greatest Lefty Show news. Thank you to everybody that's been sharing the show with your friends, family, and co-workers via the RSS feed, which you can find at leftyshow.podbean.com. That's leftyshow.podbean.com, or search The Lefty Show on your favorite Android podcasting app, or go to the iTunes store and search The Lefty Show. Be sure to subscribe and rate the feed there. I appreciate it. Thank you to everybody that's been donating. I'mRaising.com/643 Productions helps out the show. Thank you guys for joining. I hope you enjoy. That's my time. I got to get out of here. I'll catch you next time. I'm out. Bye. Everybody has affinity for cock.